I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Oops the Podcast. It is Tuesday, Election Day 2020 for America. I'm joined as ever by my dear co-host and friend, Giulio. G, how are you today?
Everybody vote, baby.
Yeah.
Get
Have you voted
there.
yet?
I haven't, no.
You're going to vote today?
Well, I'm voting today, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Leaving it to the last minute.
It was my only option.
Oh, because of where you're voting.
I'm voting in Connecticut, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So.
I get that. I voted on Saturday.
How was it?
Very easy. It was surprisingly easy. I had heard that there were hour-long lines in all these places, and we wandered up to Madison Square Garden, which is where we were supposed to be going if we were going to vote early, and there were no lines at all. And dude, it was people there greeted us like we were bringing some kind of antidote to a thing that was ravaging the community. They're like, we're so glad you're here. Thank you for coming. Thank you for voting right this way. You lucked out. They had a station set up for free hot chocolate and coffee like it was a ski resort. It was incredibly friendly. People were excited on the way out. There was another line of people who were like clapping and giving you stickers. I have to admit, I was nervous I wasn't going to get a sticker.
Why?
Because I thought maybe sometimes they're out of them.
Right.
And I put my ballot in the machine after I did my thing, and I was walking out, and they were like, right this way, and I was like, is there a sticker somewhere? They were like, yeah, the next guy. And he handed me a sticker, and I affixed it to my cardigan sweater. But my cardigan sweater was made of cashmere, and I don't know if you know about cashmere.
Yeah.
It doesn't fuse very well with
ruined
sticker.
the sweater.
It does. Yeah, cotton t-shirt's far better than a cardigan sweater made of cashmere. And so it sort of started to pull away, and very sadly, I had to crumple it up and throw it out at some point later that day.
That's disappointing.
Yeah.
I'm happy you made that happen so easily, dude. I mean, I was seeing lines earlier in the week where it was literally like blocks and blocks and blocks long, like you said.
Yeah.
So.
They had said that the day before it was a 2-hour wait.
Wow.
On Friday and Thursday, but on Saturday midday, I don't know why nobody felt
so counterintuitive.
Yeah.
It's funny. I mean, dude, isn't it crazy how they when you go in and vote, they want you to have the best experience ever so that you vote again.
Yeah.
Like, it's sad that like we have to be mind fucked into voting. They're thinking of everything: free hot chocolate, stickers so you can brag, like every single thing because people just don't vote. That's so sad.
Yeah.
Just fucking vote.
Yeah, I know. Having said that, to walk out with a little souvenir of it to show off to people.
It's nice.
And it's a little bit like as a kid when you would go on an airplane and they would invite you up to the cockpit during the flight to meet the pilots. You'd sit in their lap and be like, is that a flashlight or are you just happy to see me? And and then they would give you those wings.
Yes.
They had the little wing, pin, and you'd wear those around.
Totally.
And it was nice.
It was cool. Very
I
exciting.
don't know, man. I found the voting process to be a little bit moving.
Yeah.
I found it not emotional, but exhilarating and certainly more meaningful this time than ever before. We're seeing record turnout, of course, in the early voting. Texas already surpassed their entire voter turnout from 2016.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
They were the highest they've ever been, and that was well before. And so same with Hawaii. I think other states are on track to have done it as well.
Really fucking cool.
But there is something fun, too, about voting on Election Day. I think it's a little bit like,
right.
Do you really want to go trick-or-treating before Halloween? No.
Right.
I don't even know if you can. I guess the better metaphor there or analogy would be to go to a costume party as an adult on the days leading up to Halloween.
Right, as opposed to, yeah, that's funny.
Opposed to Halloween proper.
Right.
You ever see? Yeah, because we just had Halloween. Do you ever see, on like the Thursday or the Friday before Halloween? Halloween was on a Saturday. You'd be riding the subway, and everyone's
Yes.
like coming home from work, and there's Prince
Yeah. Yes.
sitting like looking at his phone because he's not in. It's just an adult on their way to a costume party.
Right.
Trying to keep a low profile because they're
right.
not surrounded by normalcy
Right.
yet. And you're all looking at him like, all right, man, good costume, whatever. We're just living our lives. You fish out of fucking water over here.
Dude, let me ask you a question. Did you see this Kanye West tweet over the weekend where
I
he was?
can't follow him.
Okay, well,
It's too much.
so I don't think I even actually saw the tweet. I think I saw people reposting it, and it was like, Halloween is the only day where you're not in a costume.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that. Like, what do you mean? Like, you're telling me that I'm fucking,
Dude, that's
Ace Ventura?
That's just Halloween.
That's who I am?
That's just Kanye trying to be like a 24-year-old girl who tweets about like
Profound
crying
shit.
openly in the street and thinking it's like attractive. Being like, I just ugly cried in front of a Sbarro and nobody stopped to say thank you
But like,
for your brilliance or so. I don't know what it would be.
I'm wondering if I missed something, because am I missing the message of that tweet? Like, is the point of that like, we're always in costume, we're never being our true selves? Like, is that the point of that? Because again, like, how is me being dressed up like a dinosaur who I really am? I just don't get it.
Well, you're trying to take Kanye literally, which is like trying to sift through shit to find what you ate for dinner.
But so many people reposted that I was like, am I missing something? Or they were just like, oh,
they
whoa.
think they get it and they don't. These are the rantings of a madman, and they don't. They think it's cool to. It's like the whole Keith Raniere shit. Like all
Right.
those people thought they understood what he was talking about.
Totally.
His entire goal in running next to him was to bang chicks
Right.
and steal people's money.
Right. Control women and steal. their money.
When you speak cryptically and you amass a following, you are given more credit than you're due for your words.
Right.
And
right.
that's what has happened with Kanye.
Interesting.
I
That's a good
think.
point. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, he definitely shoots from the hip.
Yeah.
He'll say some cool shit here and like, but you're right. Like, you can't listen to a whole Kanye interview without being like, come on, about something.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. He's like, if you ever get trapped in a conversation with somebody on public like on trains, for some reason I've
Or
had-
like someone's grandfather.
yeah.
I know what you're talking about. You just get a lecture.
Yeah. And you're like, dude, if you could just break up these thoughts a little bit more, then maybe they'd carry a lot more water, but they don't.
Just reminds me, one of my buddy Phil, his grandfather would R.I.P. He's a great guy. You sit with him and he immediately starts telling you about World War II. And he'll start out with like the way that they would introduce it on the History Channel. Be like, the year was 1939.
Yeah. And
it's
that's,
so
by the way,
funny.
that's cool once.
Yeah,
That's a
eventually
really
I go,
cool
"God."
listen one time.
I know.
I would love to meet him and listen to him talk about World War II for an hour or two,
Right.
happily.
Right.
But if it was like every time we were hanging, I'd be like, I don't have time for the war today.
I know.
Sorry.
Dude, it makes me feel bad because I'm like, fuck, like old people, they're old. They've seen so much shit. They know a lot. They definitely deserve respect. But to a degree also, it's like,
Yeah.
come on. Like I'm trying to go fucking,
Yeah.
well,
they're
smoke
just-
weed or something. Like I'm not trying
yeah.
to. You know
But
what I
dude,
mean?
at a point, people get to a point in life, I think, where they're not interested in learning new things to share.
Mm,
Maybe they realize they can't keep up. There's
Right.
no way that they're gonna figure out the trappings of TikTok, or don't even need to make it that far removed. It's like they're not gonna learn new things, so they're gonna just stick
right.
with what works.
And that's a gradual process, I've noticed. And there's ways you can see people are starting to turn into that person.
Mhm.
One of them is like music is a great indicator.
Sure.
Not willing to hear new music, saying it sucks, and talking about how the stuff you used to listen to was great.
Yeah.
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 It's like stubborn behavior.
I find myself falling into that trap too. We've talked about this before, but the hip hop thing, as I've said, I can only work out to hip hop,
Interesting.
but I can only work out to hip hop that has a consistent beat.
Right.
I can't even work out to that Travis Scott song. Sun is down, freezing cold. What
Sicko
song?
mode. No, but I see what you're saying. It like transitions.
But here's the thing: if
Yeah.
that song had continued in its intro beat
right.
the whole way through, I would be able to work out to it.
Right.
But then it shifts into this like
Bong,
bum,
bong,
ding,
bong,
down,
bong.
give me the root.
What's out there in me?
Yeah, sure, whatever nonsense words he's come up with. If it had continued in its original kind of organ spooky beat, I would be throwing up, PRs under the squat rack to that song. But it's like
PR is a personal record for anyone who doesn't know, right?
Yeah,
Is that what
yeah,
it is?
yeah.
Okay, just wanna make sure.
There's also a Drake song on my playlist that does this. That it's the whole song is really great, and then there's like an after section that it changes the beat completely. And one of the lines is like, "No pun intended, but I'm smelling defeat in the air." It's all about feet.
Right, no, I get it. I'm
sure
trying to
people can
remember
look
what
this up.
song that's from.
First of all, I hate that lyric. Yeah, no pun intended, but I'm smelling defeat in the air. The other
Is
night,
it from 0 to
savagely
100?
listened to. She said the only one I listened to. If they wasn't listening to me, they would be listening to you, dog. Those are like lyrics that I just vaguely hear.
It is? Thank
Oh,
you,
yeah.
Thank you.
So the first 80% of that song is super hype.
Right, and then it changes.
And then it switches to this gentle kind of like, let's get thoughtful now.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, I have 4 more reps of these shoulder presses to do. You can't tone it down for me yet, Drake.
Dude, but it's still, I mean, he spits on that verse though, but I feel you. It's
Yes.
definitely a little understated.
Yes.
Dude, I'm just laughing, you being like, I'm throwing up PRs for a second. I'm like, is he talking about Puerto Ricans?
Oh.
Is he just throwing
No,
Puerto
I wouldn't
Rican?
throw them. Not that I don't know if I could. That feels politically incorrect.
Dude, I have a good alternate side parking story for you.
Oh, baby. And you were going to tell me about this on Saturday night when
Yeah.
we hung out for a long time.
Francis and I hung out all day.
We had a fucking marathon. But I want to hear this because we've been keen
Yeah.
to hear your alternate side. If you're not following Alternate Side Parking Thursdays, it's a new thing I'm doing on Instagram. Every Thursday you have to move your car from, if you're parking it on the street sweeper comes through. There's a window from 9 to 10:30 during which time the street sweeper come through. If you're not in your car, you get a ticket. You got to pull out into the street, and then the street sweeper comes. You pull back in. Street sweeper cleans the street. Everybody's doing it. It's a fascinating New York phenomenon. Very stressful.
Yeah,
I documented
it's
on my Instagram. Giulio's got a story for
I got a
us.
good one. So, Francis, I first and foremost like to say I'm really enjoying alternate side parking Thursdays.
ASP Thursdays. Thank
It's
you.
very, not only is it really specific and like no one's ever thought of it, but somehow it also really fits your sense of humor.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a home run.
That's very
So,
kind.
yeah, you're welcome.
Shout out to Chris for the lovely edit on
Yeah.
the last one. as
Killer
well.
edit, Chris.
Yeah.
So I'm doing alternate side parking situation,
Yep.
and I borrowed my parents' car. Okay, as a preface,
Must
because
be nice. Mm.
well, I borrowed it because I had some gigs in Connecticut, and then I was like, I'm just gonna drive back for election day and vote, whatever. And my dad's like, all right, there's some jumper cables in the back. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, why? Why are there jumper? He's like, oh, just in case you need them. I was like, okay, whatever. So I go out to move the car.
If you're really quick, if your dad tells you that there are jumper cables in the back, that car is not doing well.
Okay, so fast forward to I'm parked in a spot where they're actually going to do some work on the gas line in the morning. It's the same day as the alternate side parking, so I have to move it at 9 anyway, but this particular day I have to move it at 8 because Con Ed's going to be there and it's a tow zone.
Damn.
So I'm like, all right, whatever. I go outside, it's pouring rain.
Yep.
Pouring. I run to the car, I'm like, all right, whatever. I get in the car, it won't turn on. And now the car's just dead. The battery's dead. It's 8 a.m. It's pouring fucking rain. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to get towed. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even really even know how to like jumpstart a car. Like I
Yeah.
do, but like I don't know. And dude, I swear to God, out of the blue, a tractor, a farm tractor, a farm tractor pulls up on me and he just goes, jump. He starts going, jump. I'm like, yeah, please. I fucking get out of the car. I thank God I have these jumper cables. I throw them on the battery. I'm like, all right, I guess this is how you do this. I put him on the tractor battery.
Yeah.
He points down. I put him on. Fucking jumpstart the car.
Boy, First of all, I wouldn't even know that you could jump a car from a tractor.
I didn't know either.
That feels like breeding, a French bulldog with a Labrador retriever. Can you really cross those streams? That just, is it the same electricity?
Dude. And he had 2 batteries.
Where did this guy come from?
I don't know. And it's crazy because there's these guys working in the house behind me, in where I live, and I hear them out the window in the morning yelling to each other because one of them will be on the roof of the building, and the guy will be, and I just hear, ah, ah, I hear that all morning.
That sounds like Spanish.
Whatever it was, the guy driving the tractor sounded like that somehow. So, drive.
So how did he know? Were you out of your car, like with the hood up, looking around, being like, I don't know?
The tractor must have been at the end of the block, and I think I had lifted the hood. I think I had lifted the hood. So he must have assumed.
Yeah.
And he pulls up on me, and I thought he was going to like yell at me and say I was going to get towed or something. But instead, my fucking Hispanic soldier arrived on his metal horse.
Wow.
And saved my fucking ass.
That's a great story.
Dude, it was really good.
That's great. You speak of tractors. So we grew up in Maine. We have a long dirt driveway, which sounds fancier than it is.
I don't know if it doesn't sound that fancy necessarily.
Okay. Well, like a long driveway, you know what I mean? It just took a while to get from the road to our house. It wasn't like we, intentionally built it that way. It just, the land was really far away from the road.
Got it.
So we used to have to plow the driveway we got a John Deere tractor.
Yes.
And my dad would plow the driveway, and I would invite friends over, and we would tie sleds to the plow in the back of the tractor and basically like water ski behind the tractor as he plowed the driveway.
That's fair.
In fourth
Sounds like
gear.
That's fun.
Yeah, but the problem was that we had no control in the sled, and there were curves in the driveway, and we would just be barreling towards a tree, and I would have to yell, bail, bail at the last second.
Like if you're driving the tractor?
No.
Oh, if you were
in the sleds. We'd have 2 or 3 sleds tied up, and they'd all be like bumper carring. My dad didn't care, where we went.
Dude, also if he like has to hit the brakes abruptly, you guys can like get decapitated by the bottom of the tractor.
The sleds were far away. We were like 20 feet back from the tractor.
Smart.
Plenty of lead on the rope. So I had a friend, a very good friend, whose dad was the prominent personal injury attorney in Maine. And that kid, even at like 8 years old, refused to do it.
That is hilarious.
Refused to ride the sleds. This was one of the most fun activities that we had at our house. And he would sit out. He'd be like, not today. Not for me. He'd go inside and, read case law. I don't know.
His dad put the fear in him.
Yeah, but
that's wild.
It was a blessing that he didn't, because if that kid had ridden the sleds with us and had gotten injured, that's direct line.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't even have to hire someone. They just represent themselves in that case.
Dude, I always wondered about you guys living in Maine. Like, are either of your parents from there or something?
No.
So what, they just loved Maine?
We used to drive up from New Jersey to my mom's family had a house in St. Andrews, New Brunswick in Canada.
Oh, got it.
For like many years, from like the 1930s on. It's a beautiful seaside town, but it's far.
Yeah.
Far from New Jersey. It's like, I don't know, 10 to 12 hour drive.
Crazy.
And they used to do it every summer. And we would drive up from New Jersey, but we would always stop in Maine as like a halfway point and spend the night at this terrible, crummy hotel called Freeport Inn. And as we would drive through there, my parents said, like, this state's really beautiful. This would be a nice place to raise kids. And then my dad somehow met a computer programmer who was up in Maine, and my dad had an idea for a company and spoke to him, and they like built it together, and then we moved up when I was 4.
Awesome.
I still don't really understand the story because it seems very random, but
yeah, it's pretty random.
They basically just said this is a good place to raise kids, and they wanted nice land, but they couldn't afford it in Connecticut or even Rhode Island. or Massachusetts. I think they wanted to be near the water.
Right.
And Maine at that point, this was 25 years ago, was still pretty cheap.
Right.
So that's where we went.
I mean, dude, you're like the Drake of Maine. You know what I mean? If you were a rapper, you'd be like, I got the state on my back.
Do I? Would I?
Kinda. Like,
I wonder.
who else is like actively from Maine? Dude, I get a lot of messages about people telling me Maine stuff to tell you.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. No, I know. I don't know if Maine is proud of me. I think it's up in the air. Sometimes they are, and then sometimes they're like, we don't know that guy. Well, there are some famous Mainers. Joan Benoit Samuelson. Joan Benoit won the first women's marathon at the Olympics.
Oh, when was
Big
that?
Nike athlete. I don't know, the 80s or something.
Mm.
She was big.
Okay.
She lived nearby. We knew her.
I would argue she's not that relevant, but okay.
Well,
She's a great Mainer.
Just relevant in the marathon community, that's for sure.
Okay. Sorry. Trying to offend anyone.
Who's the girl? The girl who does the song from that movie about the a cappella group? You know, the Cup song. If I'm gone, if I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You know, she sings it with the cup.
Yeah, I forget.
It's
but
short.
I remember.
I have a list of
that
famous Maine people.
actress.
Is it Anna Kendrick?
And Anna
She's-
Kendrick
there you go.
is from
Listed
Maine.
on
She went to
here,
Deering High School,
Okay.
but she's not as outward about her Maine stuff as I am.
She doesn't rep her city like you, dude.
No.
Rep my city.
So anyway,
Dude, this past weekend.
this past weekend, man. Shout out Theo Vaughn. That's the name of his podcast. We had people over again. We did it.
Yeah.
This was a weekend where things were very in flux. We did not have plans. I had loosely committed to plans with about 5 different people, 5 different couples.
Yes.
And that can be stressful.
Totally. It's hard to like figure logistics out. There was a point in the afternoon where Francis and I were texting and I was like, we may not end up hanging out. Like it may end up not happening.
But it is so nice to have that friend
I don't give a
who's
shit.
like,
It's fine.
dude, if we don't see each other, relax.
Yeah, no, totally.
It's not a big deal. And I have friends though. I have male friends who, if there's a loose plan to hang out and then I don't answer my phone enough or I don't make that happen, they hold it against me.
Yeah, no,
they're
I have
hurt
it too.
by it.
I have it too. It's stressful.
And I'm like, really?
Yeah, I know.
I'm not being crazy negligent or disrespectful. This isn't a shot at you.
Yeah.
I'm not choosing people over you necessarily. Just one thing led to another. You know, life happened.
Right.
Life got in the way of us hanging out.
Right. And that's what friends are, low maintenance for a reason. You know what I mean?
They
Like
should be.
You can maintain your friendships, relationships, like you know, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. Those are harder to maintain because it requires so much more.
Yeah.
A friendship, you know, I don't have to see you. I don't have to talk to you. And that's why
Right.
we can be friends forever.
Especially when it's another couple, you know, that there are more moving parts. Everyone has their considerations.
Couples
You know,
are tough.
We're trying to meet up with Giulio and his girlfriend. I'm with my girlfriend. Friday night, we stayed up a little bit late and had a bunch of wine with this other girl that my girlfriend works with, and we played like Settlers of Catan with only 3 people, by the way, which is 4 is way better. This girl demolished us, and it pissed me off. Dude, she got longest road right off the bat, and I don't want, like, to me, longest road in Settlers of Catan is a dick measuring contest, but at the same time, it's worth 2 victory points, which is very important. And it's also, by building a longer road, you enable yourself to build more settlements, which you can convert to cities, which gives you more cards.
It's like the cheat card.
This is a very inside story, but you know, for Cataners, you'll get it. Anyway, she demolished us, so I wasn't happy. We went to bed late and woke up on Saturday morning with wine hangover.
Yes, I had one too.
It makes you loopy.
Yeah.
You're kind of like wobbly. My balance was off kilter. I didn't know what I wanted. I was like, yeah, we can go get brunch, or we could just do nothing, or we can go shopping. I don't know. I don't know. Fortunately, my girlfriend tends to have a better sense of what she wants on Saturday mornings when we're in that very kind of foggy
cloudy state.
She was like, let's go get some brunch. And I was like, okay, let's do that. So we went and got brunch, and then we wandered into the meatpacking district. Now, Giulio, hangovers and shopping are a very dangerous combination.
Absolutely.
And
And
really dangerous for me.
I know how this story ends, but please, there's a lot of good details here.
I have not spent money in a reckless way in 8 months.
I mean, dude, we all know that you were in line at LL Bean and then put everything back.
Correct.
We know that.
That was
So-
like $230 worth of flannel shirts. Wasn't going to break the bank. Okay? So I have been so abstemious in my spending and monk-like. And there's a good feeling. There is a good feeling about looking at, as we've said, your credit card statements each month and being like, wow, that's really manageable. What a, I guess, what relief. But you go through so many months of that where that feeling, it's like being on the scale and just seeing that your weight has stayed low.
Right.
And you're like, this isn't exciting. This isn't as exciting as tasting a Cinnabon
100%.
or a really nice burger.
Yeah.
So you start to think, well, maybe I could just let myself have a little treat. You know, maybe I could look the other way on my credit card just for a second. And dude, when I'm hungover and I'm loopy and I don't have my wits about me, that
Danger.
look the other way is, ooh.
Red alert.
It escalates quickly. We went into a store called Bellstaff. Now, Bellstaff sells motorcycle jackets. I'm not a motorcycle guy. I've never even been on a motorcycle. Wearing a motorcycle jacket, probably not a great look for me. Everyone would be like, there's no chance that guy has a motorcycle. He looks like he cares about his head safety. So we go in there. I try on a bunch of coats. They're bringing them out. The whole store smells like leather. It's nice. There's a guy in there shopping as well. He keeps asking the person who works there to take pictures of him so he can send it to his wife. I crack a joke about how, as I'm trying coats on, I want him to send a picture of me in the coat to his wife because she seems like the authority on how these coats look. He laughs. I'm feeling like, yeah, I'm fucking funny. I'm ripping jokes. People are laughing. And sure enough, I buy an $1,800 shearling coat. What am I doing? Who am I? Why? Why would I have done that? Now, I'm playing it up here. I'm not that upset by it. But I will say that $1,800 with one swipe is a little less than what I've been spending in a month over the last like 7 or 8 months.
Yeah.
And in New York City, before we left in March, my credit card spending was significantly higher, to the extent that I didn't even think it was possible to spend less than like
Right.
X amount. And then we've been back now for whatever 2 months, and it's been easy. And I can't understand what it was before that was kicking my credit card balances
Right.
up into this stratosphere. Well,
Here it is.
I was hungover shopping a lot is the answer. I was buying shearling coats
Well,
to ride on my motorcycle that I don't
That's
have.
hilarious. But Francis also told me, and I don't know if you were doing this to make yourself feel better, but he has this trick about avoiding paying sales tax.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if this is legal, but we'll move forward with it anyway.
Okay. I don't know. I've never heard of this trick before.
All right. So if you're buying a really expensive big ticket item, right? And you go to the checkout counter, ask them if you have the ability to do this, ask them if they can ship it to a state that has no sales tax. If you have some kind of way to pick it up in New Jersey or New Hampshire, or, obviously a lot of the states in the South, see if you can ship it, because typically your shipping costs, like it's $20 at most. This place offered free shipping, is going to be a lot less than the sales tax that you would pay on that item in New York City.
Right. Which is like 9 or 10%, right?
I'm not even sure what it is. I mean, yeah, 10%.
It's
right.
a high number.
Yeah, 9 or 10%. So
That's
I
$180.
was like, hey, is there any chance I can ship this to New Jersey? And they were like, oh. And they'd never met someone who had said this to them.
Dude, love it.
They were like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, they were like, do you live there? And I was like, sure. Yeah, I live there. And they were like, okay, I guess we could do that. They were like, you sure you don't want to wear it out? And I was like, I definitely want to wear it out. I like to wear everything out that I buy. By the way, do you think that that's lame?
What?
When you buy something cool and you
throw it
wear it
on?
out of the store?
Yeah, it's a kind of lame. Like I might do it, but it's just something. There's something like cringy about it.
There's
where you're
something cringy about leaning over the counter with the item on your back where they have to lean over and remove the security tag with the item on your person. That's a little embarrassing when they're snipping tags off your body. They're like, dude, really? Act like you've been there before. Put the shit on the second you get out of the store or when you get home.
Yeah.
Because
you show up to lunch in your new jacket. Dude, I just got it.
It feels a little bit.
Let's celebrate.
It feels like a little bit like somebody on the run who goes into like a fucking Walgreens and like buys a new outfit so that they can shed their fugitive clothing. It's like, I'll take that fishing bucket hat and I'll take that vest and these trousers. Okay, $38. Snip, snip, snip. Now I'm walking out and I'm throwing away the clothes that I escaped in.
Dude, that's funny. There's always that scene where the guy sees the little store, he goes in, he buys the clothes, and like just to show you he's cool, he's like, how much is that beef jerky?
Yeah. They always add one more thing.
Cuts to him in the parking lot eating the beef jerky in his new clothes.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Dude, it's for some reason in my mind, it's always like a store that sells camping equipment and fishing gear.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, they even joke about that. Like, and there's a Leslie Nielsen movie where he
Yes. The,
wrongfully accused.
Wrongfully. What a great movie.
It's a great movie.
And that was a spoof on The Fugitive with Harrison Ford. And Harrison Ford does do that in the same way.
Hilarious.
But I think No Country for Old Men, he also goes in and buys new clothes at a store.
It's a great movie too.
What a great movie. Great book
Really
by
fucking
Cormac McCarthy. If you haven't seen the movie, read the book No Country for Old Men. I would also recommend The Road by Cormac McCarthy, which is a post-apocalyptic wasteland, father-son traveling through, kind of these mean roads and looking for, supplies and things like that. It's very apropos of this moment in time. People ask me for book recs sometimes on the
Great,
podcast, so
yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there. Cormac
Awesome.
McCarthy, probably my favorite author all time.
So, dude, my version of what you do is, thank God it's less expensive, but it's probably much worse for my body. I'll go into like a convenience store and just buy a bunch of snacks that no one's ever bought. Like the most random, like yesterday I was hungover. Well, Sunday I was hungover and I bought a giant bag of Arizona fruit snacks, which is like Arizona iced tea, but they have fruit snacks.
Oh, gosh.
I also bought a bag of Welch's fruit snacks, mixed fruit.
Yep.
And
I've only ever bought those on the subway.
yeah, right, from the kids. and a pack of watermelon high chews.
Those are good.
All at the same time, though.
Those are good. I don't know about watermelon. I like the green apple one.
They're all but anyway, I don't know why I get experimental. I like buy shit I don't usually want. I eat too much of all of it. I feel terrible
That's
after.
a lot of sugar, dude.
Dude, yeah.
That's teeth and stomach and then energy going down. Like
terrible.
That assault. I was able to not. I'm not a candy guy anymore, and I used to love candy. If I'm gonna eat candy, it's got to be chocolate.
I like that. Yeah, you've kicked that habit.
Like sweet, fruity flavored candy is a brutal energy crash.
Oh, it's terrible, dude. It's like the only thing I could be eating that's worse is literally those like tubes of goo that you literally just squirt into your mouth. You can buy at the candy store. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know the ones that are powdered sugary ones.
No. These are like liquid sugar, and it's like blue, and you literally like take the cap off and like.
That's disgusting.
It's really fucking ratchet. But anyway, the point I'm making is that I choose like children's candy.
Yeah.
When I'm hungover.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris is showing us this shit, dude.
Oh boy, that's gross.
It's disgusting.
Looks like Halloween costume makeup.
So pick your poison though. And to be honest, like I actually, if I am really hungover and I eat like shit, I found that the best way to have that not affect me is to just not feel bad about it. Like if I just have a shitty Sunday, like now it's the week, I'm eating healthy again. Like
give yourself a cheat day. We aren't perfect. One day is not going to hurt you. Just know that you have to get back on track.
Yeah. And sometimes I feel like the anxiety that comes along with failing and like micromanaging your eating habits can do more damage than
Totally.
just having that bad day, like you said.
Yeah. Hangover Sundays are always going to be a day where I just, dude, I mean, my spending went to hell this weekend. I'll be honest with you. Just that. So to get back to our Saturday really quick,
We had a good time.
I buy that coat, but then I don't even get to show it off to all these great friends that I ran into because I shipped it to New Jersey. And if you're wondering where I shipped it to my old home address of Bayonne Golf Club in Bayonne, New Jersey. I put that down. They were like, "Is this where you live?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I wrote Bayonne Golf Club, attention, Francis Ellis. And they were like, "This doesn't seem like where you live."
Your
and I was
private
like,
residence.
"Oh, I spend time there." So
I live on the 18th green.
yeah. So I ship it out, and then I walk back out, and I guess I'll get it in a couple of business days. But I then went and voted, and what a lovely contrast of like Americanisms of sending
That's funny.
a new expensive purchase to avoid the sales tax to a different state, only to then go take part in democracy. And then from there, we went down and we had a cocktail around 2:00 because we wanted to almost like celebrate having voted.
And purchasing the coat.
Yeah. And then we went and looked at an apartment, which
Cool.
we're continuing to do. And then we met up with Giulio and his girlfriend and another couple that we are good friends with
Mhm.
at a bar and watched some college football. Although we didn't really watch much of the college football. We just talked and hung out. Your girlfriend used to work with
Yes.
the girlfriend of my very, very close friend.
Correct.
And
Which is
we're
a
good-
nice little tie.
It turned into a perfect, almost hexagon. You wouldn't call it like a triangle of friendship, but a 6-pointed hexagon of friendship. There were no, so what do you do? And
Right.
kind of like let's break the ice questions. It was immediate friendship,
Step 2 immediately.
commitment to like I'm comfortable getting drunk around you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And so we kind of loaded up and got pretty fired up. And then around probably 6:30, we walked back, maybe 7. We walked back to my apartment, and Giulio and his girlfriend came and hung out with us, while the other couple went to a dinner, and we were all sitting outside just drinking. And
Yeah.
Giulio starts drinking. Giulio and his girlfriend were drinking tequila sodas. And I noticed that with each replenishment of his drink, there was less soda to the point where it not only less soda, but less ice. Like the drink just started turning into like, well, there are still a few floating fragments in there. I don't really care what temperature this is.
Floating citrus fragments.
And
no
he's
ice.
just, now it's almost like basically tequila. And I'm
Sounds
like, all
about
right,
right.
Giulio is turning one on here. This is pretty good. We're having a great conversation. We've got the heat lamp lit up outside. It's cozy. And then the couple that had been at dinner brought the other couple that they were at dinner with, and they all came back here, and we started playing a game called Secret Hitler. Now, that maybe sounds like a bad name for a game. It's not
It's a
anything
fun game,
crazy. It's a
yeah.
really fun role-playing game. It's if you've never played it, it's really fun. 10 is a great number. We had 10 people, and we were playing this game, and everyone was getting pretty drunk, passing a little of the pot ski around, having a great time.
It was fun.
Giulio. Oh, we like finished Secret Hitler, and then we moved to a different game called Snake Oil, which is like you pitch products to a person in the game based on 2 cards that have words on them. You put 2 cards together, and you're like, you're a prom date. Well, I'm gonna pitch you the lizard wand, and you got your 2
Yeah.
cards, and you have to like explain what it is, and then the person chooses the best pitch. One of my friends gave up on even like trying to be reasonable in this game. And I think it was like prom date or something, and he put together college and box on his cards. He's like, you're gonna prom date, it's the college box. You know that next year you're gonna go to college and you're gonna slam a lot of box. You're gonna be fucking pussy, blah, blah, like just like getting up in
Going
there.
for it.
And he's saying this, and all of our like, we're all with our girlfriends and fiancés, and he's just leaning into the most vulgar, graphic. insane pitch, not even trying to abide by the social contract. Just like, and everyone's like, oh my God, dude, fucking relax. And he finishes his pitch. And Giulio doesn't miss a beat and just steps in and he goes, that's crazy. That's crazy. My pitch, dude, I don't know if it's as funny now. Obviously it's not. When he said that, I laughed for 15 minutes without inhaling. It was a 15-minute silent, wheezing, tears streaming down my face, ab workout, deep pain, worrying about internal bleeding type laugh.
you were dying.
I could not get it back together. And I wasn't the only one.
Yeah,
I wasn't the only one. There were two other people there who understood how funny that moment was. And I said to him the next day, I have not laughed like that in a decade. And it was the same catharsis from that laugh that you feel after a really deep cry.
Yeah.
I felt just as
Drained.
cleansed.
Right.
And it was so wonderful. Guys, I have to tell you, I mean, it was a really healing wonder. It highlighted the entire night for me. I don't mean to get like moving or sentimental, but look for a great laugh like that, because you never know what it's going to hit you. And don't like, I kept thinking, God, people are going to be judging me because I'm still laughing. The game has moved on. People think I'm being indulgent by carrying on with this. So I just kept burying my head in my hands and just taking my time. But the more I thought about it, the harder I would laugh. And it was just really great for me to have that.
That's a good time.
So I
man.
appreciate it.
Dude, absolutely.
And meanwhile, he's got this little giggle going, and he's just like, he's just happily, filling up now he's down to like a final fingernail of ice plus a glass of tequila. And he felt so bad that he and his girlfriend had drunk all of our tequila. The next day, he delivered me a bottle of tequila.
Dude.
Which was really sweet, but totally
course.
unnecessary, because anytime we have people over, they tend to bring alcohol, and we always have way too much. So we try to get through it all.
Well, dude, I mean, listen, I was very aware of the fact that, because we finished the bottle of tequila, and then we went to get another bottle of tequila, and we couldn't find a place that was selling it. It was too late. Like, the liquor stores were all closed. And then we happened to find another bottle of tequila in your apartment and continue drinking it. And I was like, all right, this is like going. No one else was really drinking tequila, I don't think. He'd gone way overboard. But it was fun. It was definitely a night where and it felt so nice to feel that. To wake up feeling terrible the next day felt so nice. Because I'm not used to it. Like, I haven't been able to drink like that. Even when I'm just like sitting around drinking during, COVID and everything. Right. It's hard to be in the environment where you can just be drinking all day. I don't even drink during the day usually. So all of a sudden we were planning on meeting up with Francis and his girl for an hour or two or whatever, and then figuring it out. And we end up hanging out for 10 hours. Snap my fingers, it's 2:00 in the morning, and I don't even remember. I start forgetting pieces of the night and shit. Yeah. It was a really wonderful.
I don't really remember how people left or
yeah.
how it ended. But I will say this. When I went to bed, this is how good the night was. I hadn't looked at my phone in about 4 hours.
Oh, that's great.
Around 1 a.m. Plus, this was also daylight savings time.
Oh, yeah.
This
I forgot
night.
about that.
So we thought it was super late, and it got kicked back an hour. And being awake through that is actually a really cool experience.
Totally.
As you're like, this is, you're like, fuck yeah. It's not as late as it, we're going to be fine tomorrow. So I looked at my phone at 1 a.m, really 2. And I had a text from my next door neighbor.
Wow.
Now, my next door neighbors are wonderful people. I don't really know them that well. The husband is a really sweet guy. He and I have exchanges all the time over the fence, just like those two characters in Home Improvement. And because we both have mirroring sort of backyards. And they're youngish. I don't know much. I don't know the wife really, but they just had an 8-month-old baby. Now, there are 8 apartments in our building. Mm-hmm. 6 of them are vacant. I think we're the last 2 people in this entire building.
Oh, so the neighbor is included in this. The neighbor meaning In the building or the next building over?
He's in this building
But
too.
in those two buildings combined? He's
Yeah,
one of
in the
okay,
whole
got it.
ownership of our building, of the 8 units, only 2 have people in them still.
Got it.
And they're kicking everyone out. So as soon as our leases are up, that's it.
Got it.
Which is why we're looking. Anyway, the point is, I am in this weird mindset of like, well, this is the last hurrah. Let's just burn this place to the ground.
Right.
And that's why every weekend we've been having people over.
Yeah.
We sit in the backyard. It's only ever like 6, 8 people. We're not like going crazy. So I had a text from his wife saying, "Hey, it's so and so from next door. Is there any chance that you could like shut this down, your party
wow.
or your gathering? The baby keeps waking up."
Oh.
Now she had sent that to me at like 11:15 p.m.
Oh no.
It's a Saturday night. We have 8 people total hanging out inside, and we're playing games. Not music.
There wasn't even music. Yeah.
It's not a dance party. You know, granted, we're laughing hard. We're like probably being boisterous, etc. But let me ask you this, right? Do I have to do that?
I don't know. That's a good question, man. I really don't know.
If I didn't even read it until 3 hours later, so whatever, I missed it. But let's say that I had read that text at 11:10. Do I have to abide by that?
Like the one question that I have, is there any, like, were we outside at that time?
No.
Definitely not.
No.
Because I remember
it was it was coming through the walls.
Got it.
That's where you know, and we don't like, I don't think we have particularly noise carrying walls.
That's a tough call.
My first thought is like, well, I didn't tell you to have a child.
Right.
Well, first of all, number 2, get one of those noise machines. We
Right.
actually bought a noise machine because our friends who have a baby showed us that they were using it for their baby and it had improved that baby's sleep a lot. And now we use it every night and we love it.
Right. No, totally. I mean, and it's Saturday night. Like you said, it's not crazy. There were not a lot of people over. We were probably being sort of loud, but we weren't being like rambunctious assholes. We were adults having drinks, enjoying ourselves. No one was too drunk.
Yeah.
Everyone was so. You make a good point.
At what point am I allowed to do something reasonable and what I want within my own home?
Right.
Where does neighborly consideration begin?
Right. And this is like a contentious issue, like in New York City in general. Like people, you know, we all live so close to each other that like inevitably noise complaints can become a thing, this and that. But I think, I think you're right. I mean, if I were her, I don't know if I would have texted you.
For the record, I have been what I would consider an exemplary neighbor. The first like 2.5 years that I lived here, I don't think I ever had a party.
Right.
I rarely had people over.
Right.
And I did have a birthday party once, but it was like from, 1 p.m. on a Saturday till like 7 o'clock in the middle of summer or something. I don't remember, spring.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. The party, I mean, I know that we did pop outside a couple times. I'm assuming that it was from going through the wall, like you said. That's a tough one. And that can be the danger of becoming too friendly with your neighbors, is that you can become like compassionate for them. And now you feel bad that their baby can't sleep, as opposed to if you don't know him, you're like, fuck your baby.
Yeah. Yeah, but once it starts escalating into them filing noise complaints with the police.
Has that happened?
No.
Right.
No, but I would never want to force
Of
their
course,
hand.
Of course.
And for the record, I've only ever exchanged phone numbers with the husband, right? And he and I have texted, here's how nice this guy is. We didn't have propane for our heat lamp.
Right.
And I knew he had an extra tank.
Mhm.
I'm getting a refill on Monday. I texted him on Saturday and said, any chance I could get your extra tank? I'll give you a fresh one on Monday when it comes. And he was like, yeah, no problem. And he just left me a whole fresh tank of propane.
Unbelievable.
And so
Very
we
nice.
get along very well. The next day, I texted him to apologize.
Oh, okay.
And I said, I'm so sorry about that. You know, I kind of just lost track of time. Frankly, I had way too much to drink and just, the night faded away. And all he sent back was like, dude, no sweat, no worries at all.
Right.
I think that he didn't want her to send that to me.
Oh,
I don't think that was a united front text.
got it. How interesting. That makes sense, dude.
Now, having said that, in order for her to have texted me, she had to get my number from him.
Right.
I
So-
picture them having a big fight about it.
Yeah.
That's what I like to picture.
Where he was like, you don't have to, I just gave him a propane tank. It's awkward.
Not only that, but like the baby's, sleep schedule is not contingent upon the baby's going to sleep or it's not going to sleep. We weren't making so much noises to like.
That's also true.
we're
like-
not beating pots and pans. Babies sleep fitfully.
Right. There's no indication that you are the person who kept the baby up.
Yeah. It felt to me a little bit like a mother who was at her wit's end trying to get the baby to sleep and looking for a scapegoat.
How old is the baby? You don't know?
Probably like 6 to 8 months or something.
Okay. Yeah. That's very interesting, man.
But I could be totally wrong about that. This is just me projecting completely onto this couple.
Well, you handled it well. I mean, obviously it was good to send that text the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, if you miss it by 3 hours at least, because if you see it right away, you can be like, sorry, we'll keep it down.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, hey guys, and even though you don't want to have to do that.
Right.
But that sounds like you handled it respectfully. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever.
They're very sweet people. And I would never want to, but at the same time, it's like we have a couple weeks left at this place. And so now, granted, we've been really taking advantage. I mean, because we have this outdoor space and nobody else does. So we just keep having the people over every Saturday. We've had people over, and I can get that it's getting a little tiresome for the neighbors,
For the neighbors.
Have you ever had a neighbor call the police on you?
No, but I've called the police on neighbors.
Oh my God.
But dude, you don't call the police here. Like, have you ever done it? Obviously, you've never done it. You call 311. And it's the same people I call to complain about illegal construction on Sunday morning when I'm trying to fucking sleep. They're it's the worst fucking thing ever, dude. I'm like, stop. It would be better if it was just consistent noise. It's like torture.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like never really.
To finish the neighbor thought, have you ever been arrested or had the cops call? Excuse me. Have you ever had a neighbor call the cops on you? Have you had a noise complaint filed or anything like that?
Not like me personally, but it's funny. Like every single party in high school, like the kid whose parents were out of town would get shook that the party was too heavily populated,
Yeah.
and he would come in and go, "All right, guys, the cops have been called. They're on their way. The cops are on their way." And like no one ever believed that. That was like the biggest boy who cried wolf situation. And then like half the times the cops would come and everyone at the party would just sprint into the woods.
Yeah.
Like they're some kind of like terrorists. They're like, oh, the cops won't be able to catch me in this terrain.
If we all go in different directions.
We're going to retreat to the mountains.
It's very much a cockroach mentality. Can't catch us all.
Yeah, exactly.
Spread out.
Exactly. You just put the cop holding his pants up.
Yeah.
Hey, you fuckers. Get back here.
Oh, God.
So, I don't know. But dude, sorry.
I've been very lucky to get along with the majority of my neighbors in New York City, in all these places that I've lived in. But it is the virtue of living with where you share a wall with someone.
Right.
As opposed to a freestanding house out in the boonies somewhere where you just you're gonna have people who make noise that you don't want them to make.
Right. Unfortunately, it's inevitable. And even
Yeah.
to the point where like my friend just moved into an apartment and he got a noise complaint. He was sitting in his apartment, not listening to music, hanging out with one person and got a noise complaint. He's like, dude, I'm moving. He's like, I can't handle this.
I knew a couple, I was good friends with a couple who were very kind of buttoned up and quiet and respectful. And they lived above an elderly woman who had a rent controlled apartment. Someone who'd just been there for 30 years and was paying like $800 a month.
And like the owners of the building are like, any day now, she's going to drop dead.
Yeah. And all of her windows are covered in really heavy curtains.
Oh, yeah.
No natural light comes into the apartment. None of the appliances have been renovated. And
Oh, God.
she's got to light her stove with a match. That kind of apartment with lots of like God and Jesus.
Porcelain
shrines
God everywhere.
all over the place.
Yeah, that's sounding like my grandmother's house in Brooklyn. And they're all the couches would be in plastic.
Yep.
Like each cushion had its own individual plastic. There's stuff about God everywhere.
Right.
It's like it must take 5 hours to dust this room. This is crazy.
She only drinks tap water. That kind of a person. So they lived above this woman, and they would, if they turned on music or TV too loud, she would take a broom handle and bang it against the ceiling as an indicator to be quiet. And it would happen. I went over once and hung out with them, and I just sitting down and talking to them, and we're talking for 10 minutes or whatever, and she starts doing it.
Oh my God.
And eventually it led to a lawsuit. Like they had a big fight.
Oh my
out.
God, that's brutal. That poor, I mean, you'd think that this nice older woman, who apparently isn't that nice, but you'd think that maybe her hearing would have deteriorated a bit.
You'd hope.
You'd hope over all these years and everyone could be happy. But
yeah.
I don't know, dude. But dude, hanging out this weekend. So it was a really nice time. It's nice to kind of like have a day that turns into a long day like that. It's also funny because like, you know, some of the time they're those friends where like you meet up with them at 2:00 and you're with them for the rest of the day. Like I'm not that guy. I want that to be clear.
Yeah.
You're like, oh God, if we hang out with Giulio, we're going to be with him till we go to bed. Like we got to.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just worked out that way. But it was really fun, dude. And
I'm so glad that you guys had an open day in front of you
Yeah,
because
it was
it was so much fun.
it was really
And
fun.
by the way, everybody who came texted me the next day saying, what a remarkably fun day.
So fun.
When was the last time you got that text?
I know.
We haven't had, like, fun days just don't happen.
Dude, we honestly, on Sunday, we were so happy
Yeah.
because of how fun it was.
Yeah.
Like it offset our hangover. We're like, wow, that was so much fucking fun.
Agreed.
And dude, we also hung out in like waves. We hung out at a place with people and ordered drinks. We then hung out here, just us, and then people came over. So it was like 3 fun events.
Just bouncing around, stringing it together, learning about each other, sharing laughs,
Hanging
creating inside jokes, bonding. And then on Sunday, you know, I find that hangovers, if you drink 2 nights in a row, the second one tends not to be as bad for me.
That's
The
interesting.
first one out of nowhere is shocking.
Right, like wedding syndrome.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
on the second one, it's like, oh, your body's given up and it's just can't feel anything anymore. But I actually made it out to play golf yesterday in the pouring rain.
Oh, whoa.
And then I came home. My girlfriend went down to New Hope, Pennsylvania to see her folks for a few days. The dog had a dental surgery.
Yes.
His teeth were rotting
Poor little guy.
from years of negligent toothbrushing.
From years of chewing on gum.
Yeah.
Something.
So they had to give it remove a bunch of his teeth, and she felt so bad from seeing him on FaceTime with his stupid, you know, like neck
Oh yeah.
cone that she had to go see him.
That's pretty cute.
So I had the place to myself, and dude, when you live with somebody and you get the news that you're about to have the place to yourself, there is an instant excitement
yeah.
and a euphoria of like, oh my God, I'm gonna use the smart TV for porn. I'm gonna jerk off with the windows open. I'm gonna stay up late. I'm gonna order food. I'm gonna do nothing, dude. I ordered Lartuzzi.
Oh wow.
On
It's a solid
caviar.
move. Was that really awesome?
Well, it was just another, you know, as I said,
Big expense.
my weekends of hungover decisions. Yeah, it's not just the spending and buying shit that I become numb to.
Yeah.
I order food
Yeah.
that is out of whack with how much I need.
For sure.
There's no governor on my decision making,
Good dude.
especially if she's away. I ordered $197 worth of Lartuzzi.
Oh my God.
I ordered 4 pasta entrees,
Oh my
a chicken
God.
entree, side of carrots, 2 chocolate chip cookies, and
That's
might have been it.
remarkable. The Francis sampler. It's a
dude, it
little
was
bit of
nuts.
everything.
But I eat a third of each thing,
Right.
and I package that up, and I'm gonna have 2 or 3 meals out of it.
That's good at least.
So you know, you spread it out.
yeah. But dude, but hell yeah. Yeah, I went to JG Mellon and I had a grilled cheese and a cheeseburger. 2 things I haven't eaten in
Unbelievable.
months.
What a
So,
childish order. Good
yeah,
for you.
What are you gonna do, right?
It's great. Lots to think about. Listen, send in any stories you may have of neighbor squabbles.
Oh yeah.
to oopsthepodcast@gmail.com.
We actually have a great neighbor squabble email that
We
we're going
sure
to talk
do.
about next week.
Yeah. For now, happy election day, everybody. I hope your candidate wins, whoever that may be. And also just remember that if your candidate doesn't win, we're going to be fine.
Yes.
America has had bad presidents before. America has had leaders who have not been to our liking, and the republic continues. So I'm excited about election night, and what a time.
What a time.
What a time. We'll be back on Thursday with a breakdown and our thoughts about the world. So thanks for joining us. Happy thoughts, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
Guys, if you like this video, why don't you go check out some of our other videos? They're right there, right on the screen. We love you. We really appreciate it.
Oops.